What's up, guys? It's John Dominique, the Soul Proponent. Today, I want to talk about the unconditional nature of God and why that's so important. We get a lot of ideas that to be saved, to have salvation, especially in traditional Christianity, we have to believe in Jesus, and salvation is a gift from grace. But that's not unconditional. What that means is you have to believe in Jesus, you have to follow the commandments, you have to believe in the Bible, you have to be a good Christian, you have to wait until you die to get to heaven. That's placing conditions on that which is unconditional. The truth is, when we understand and experience, or we have an experience of essential spiritual awakening, we realize that the only condition is realizing that there are no conditions. That God is here and now in this timeless moment. And we just need to see what's in the way. We need to drop all these beliefs, all these ideas, all these conditions, all these terms, all of these situations that we believe need to happen before we can experience God. This is a God of the living for people who are alive. It's not a matter of waiting until you're dead. That's, first of all, you're waiting in time for that which is timeless. Second of all, you're placing conditions on that which is unconditional. It's a very subtle, not talked about topic, but placing conditions on what's unconditional basically perpetuates and creates our own suffering, because we're making things harder than it really is. We're making things harder than they really are. The truth is, it's effortless. God is omnipotent without lifting a finger. And this path to spiritual awakening will show that to us, that we are one with that effortlessness. And that's part of the ironic twist to how things really are, to reality, to the truth. Because we think we have to do something, we have to accomplish something, we have to believe, we have to achieve, we have a goal, we have to get somewhere. That's like basically putting a dangling carrot in front of us that we'll never reach, basically. And without understanding that fully and seeing how that operates on every level of this personality identity, we just continue to try to reach that carrot, thinking that if we try hard enough, it'll work. But that's not how it operates, unfortunately. Reality, it's almost like the total reverse, the total opposite. So the conditions that we think need to happen, we need to believe in Jesus. We need to die before we go to heaven. We have to do good deeds while we're on earth. Yeah, that's all good. I'm not saying don't do good deeds and that being a Christian is bad, but that's not our ultimate identity. This identity of needing to reach an ideal, needing to reach a goal, an idea of being a perfect Christian, that's an idol, basically. It's an idol. It's idol worship at a very subtle level. We need to see that and understand every single way that happens and why that happens, why we continue to buy into it, why we've invested everything we've got into reaching these such ideals. Like we think, oh, once we get a good job, once we get a house, once we get married, once we have children, then I'll be satisfied, then I'll be fulfilled, then I'll be happy, then I'll be contented. Most people go through their lives continuing to chase, thinking the same mentality, that same attitude. Well, we need to look past that attitude without understanding the truth and seeing that we're placing conditions on that which is unconditional. We'll just continue to perpetuate our own suffering, because we think if we try hard enough, if we achieve one goal, maybe if we get another goal and achieve that goal, maybe that'll do it. The irony is that it won't. So what needs to happen is basically we need to reverse, let go, undo the need to achieve these conditions, basically. And it's not easy to do because we've been programmed, we've been conditioned through the domestication process, through the civilization process, to basically strive, achieve, attain goals, make money, get a car, get something fancy, a fancy Rolex watch. We think that's going to give us the value that we were unconsciously seeking, that we can get it outside of ourselves by satisfying terms and conditions. But the truth is, God and spiritual awakening is unconditional effortlessness. So what we need to do is reverse the need for effort, reverse the need to the desire to satisfy the conditions. Again, it's not an easy thing. This is a lifelong practice. We got to start small with something practical in our lives, maybe, and work our way up and continue to practice that as we go, because the truth never ends. So that means our path never ends and the practice never ends. We need to continue to undo the conditions that we place on the unconditional, and then continue to undo the need to undo the conditions that we place. God is unconditional. It's a beautiful thing when you really think about it, but people have a difficult time accepting it because it goes against the mind, it goes against the survival instinct, it goes against what we've been taught. It's like the total opposite. It's counterintuitive, and it takes a particular attitude in order to sustain that reversal. Because once we reverse those conditions, we notice that our whole life is based on that. And then we notice how much we've become dependent on that type of lifestyle, on that attitude, on that orientation of achieving the conditions. And when that's gone, there's nothing there. There's emptiness. There's a hole. And we start to feel like there's no support. We're sinking down into nothingness is what it feels like. And nobody knows how to deal with that. We don't want to accept it. We try to run as far and as hard as we can away from it because it feels like death. And basically, spiritual awakening is a type of psychological death. That's what we have to face. We have to accept those consequences, go through that. We need to build up the stamina, the courage, and the strength to face that and face the fears that come up with it. Again, this is not an easy task. It takes a special mentality, a special attitude. You have to really want it very badly. The truth has to be so important that you're willing to sacrifice any and every consequence, regardless. The unconditional will make you unconditional, basically. It'll show you that all these conditions that we've been dependent on, that we're attached to, aren't really real. It just shows you the truth, what's really real. That emptiness is what reality is. That's our awakening to reality. But if you allow, I'm here to propose that if you allow that emptiness, that nothingness, that void, that feeling of lack of support, and just become comfortable with it, I propose that it's a beginning and not an ending, as most people presume. But we need to be able to sustain that emptiness, sustain the capacity to stay in such a state. A lot of meditation, a lot of stillness, a lot of peeling back the layers of this identity that we've built for ourselves and undoing the attachment to survival, its survival instincts. And that's not to say, we don't live our lives. We don't get a job. We don't, buy food and go grocery shopping and do our laundry and the practical things that we need. But, basically, we just need the basics to survive. And what's happening is that we're going overboard we carry that type of attitude, that survival mentality into the spiritual domain, and it backfires. It doesn't work. And very few people are talking about these type of topics. No one really understands as part of the problem. How, the traditional Christianity, they're always like, yeah, by the grace of God, if you have faith the size of a mustard seed, yeah, that's true in a way. You do need to have faith on a certain level, but then eventually we'll have to let go of that faith. So that condition, oh, you have to have faith, is one that will have to be dropped eventually as well. The conditions of being a Christian, going to church, doing good deeds, being a good person, following the rules, that's good and all, but that's not what's going to do it for us. Eventually, we're going to have to let go of that. And it's a scary proposition, but again, the beautiful thing is that the conditions that we try to apply towards God and spiritual awakening are not there. They're just illusions, holograms in our minds. They're just thoughts, concepts. The thinking mind is a big part of the issue because we're attached to that need for identity. Once that's gone, when the identity subsides and it doesn't overpower us, it doesn't govern our behavior anymore, then what's left is that emptiness. And again, I propose that emptiness is not an emptiness in the end, in the long term. If you allow it to show you what's real, if you go deeper into it, and if you allow yourself to be dissolved and absorbed into it, I propose that the miracle of Jesus turning water into wine, that emptiness actually turns into a presence, a fullness, a divine, immaculate presence, too holy and too sacred for words to speak. That's my message. The conditions that we think need to be satisfied to experience spiritual awakening and to experience God, that's placing conditions on that which is unconditional. And again, waiting until we're dead to get to heaven is a huge, monumental blunder. It's decimating to humanity. It's really a real disservice to people, because we're believing that, oh, just wait until I die. No, you don't wait. You can't wait. It's now. It's here. And that's, again, the attitude of reversing the attitude of needing to get somewhere, placing conditions. Oh, wait until I'm dead. Wait until I do all these good deeds. Wait until I get to the end of my life and I can feel accomplished. Wait until XX more. It's always one thing after another, and it seems like it never ends. So that attitude of, well, here's the thing though. The thing about it is, yeah, we do need to try at first, especially we need to put forth effort. It's not like we can just drop everything and it'll work. It means basically we have to see why we're trying so hard. Where are we placing our efforts? What's our motivation? If the motivation is to get somewhere and to wait until we're dead to get to heaven, then it's a huge error. It's gonna basically miss the whole point, because God is here that we might have life and life abundant as we live our lives now. This is a God of the living, not of the dead. God is timelessness. There's no waiting till you're dead to get to heaven. It's here and now in this moment. And we need to understand and see this multiple times over and over and over again until we become one with that understanding of timelessness, of presence. It's a tall order. It's an erasing of who you are, of this identity, because the identity is built around time. Basically, wait until you're dead to get to heaven. Guys, that's equivalent to like murdering your own people. And we're going to a lot of times we pass that attitude down to our own children. And we think that's the best thing. We don't know any better. And that's going to basically perpetuate the suffering on this earth that's been happening since the beginning of time, basically. We have to stop buying into it, or at least see that there's another way. There's the truth. That which is unconditional is God. There's no conditions It's here and now. We don't have to lift a finger. And yeah, the free gift, it's a free gift. The freedom of that is to realize we need to be free of any conditions that we try to place. Oh, you have to be a Jehovah's Witness. You have to believe these tenets to go to heaven. That's not how it works. Heaven is here and now in this precise exact moment. It's just needing a matter of seeing what's in the way. And we need to stop placing conditions on that which is unconditional, because God is unconditional, unconditional love, unconditional value, here and now, nowhere else. John Dominique, the Soul Proponent.